A dozen St. Louis Sheriff's Department employees being let go right after the holidays. How current officials are justifying these actions. Plus, continued troubles plaguing the closure of a St. Louis nursing home. Workers talking to First Alert 4 as they learn the fate of their positions through our reporting.
Live, First Alert 4 starts now.
Good Thursday morning to you, and thanks for waking up with us here at First Alert 4 this morning. I'm Justin Andrews in for Maurice Drummond this morning. I'm joined by First Alert meteorologist Matt Chambers. And Matt, oh boy, it's cold out there. I was driving in, I looked at the KMOV First Alert 4 weather app, right? And I noticed the temperature's dropping hour by hour.
You're exactly right. It was close to freezing when I walked in the door here at about 1:30 this morning. It's a different story now. We're going to have to grit our teeth and push through this one. Let me show you what's happening. This much advertised cold front about some warmer weekend weather.
Absolutely. I'm ready to go up. Thanks so much, Matt. Breaking overnight, First Alert 4 is working to get information about 2 ATMs that may have been hit by criminals. Take a look at this video from the Bank of America on Clayton Road in Ladue here. This is near the I-64 Lindbergh interchange. You can see significant damage to those 2 machines here, glass shattered right there. Right now, it's not clear if anything was taken. First Alert 4 checked in with Ladue police, who say they may be able to release information later this morning. This morning, police are investigating a deadly shooting in North City. It happened just after 7 o'clock last night on Coleman Street here near Cass Avenue. Look at the crime tape there. We know a man is dead and homicide detectives are investigating. We're working to learn the man's identity and if there's a search for a suspect. Well, First Alert 4 obtained this letter giving to at least a dozen St. Louis Sheriff's Department employees from the sheriffs-elect. It's telling them they won't have a job in the new year. First Alert 4 is getting to the bottom of this, hearing from the current sheriff and the incoming leader responsible for these letters. Melody Johnson has the details. Well, it's been over a week since Colin Brown died in the hospital after being hit by a stray bullet on I-55. The boy was just 16 years old. Last night, Colin's hockey teammates took to the ice for the first time since his death. The Afton Americans U16 team played at the Afton Ice Rink against the St. Louis Sting, and that rink was packed with fans. The St. Louis hockey community showing just how close-knit it is and how they show up for one another in times of need. In the last week, little has turned from police when it comes to the investigation. They're still looking for the shooter and asking for information about it. First Alert 4 investigates, continues to follow developments at a closing nursing home. On top of the patients being moved, staff say they're now being laid off despite doors at Festus Manor remaining open for several more weeks. Our Morgan Harris continues our coverage, breaking down incidents and diving into a new report. It's all around unfortunate there. That was Morgan Harris reporting. We've reached out to Festus Manor repeatedly to find out more about the closure, but we were told no comment by staff. Well, next, right here on First Alert 4, new scrutiny growing around Secretary of Defense nominee Pete Hegseth. And there's word President-elect Donald Trump could replace him with another well-known Republican. Well, Hollywood Holloway striking again this week as the Blues go head-to-head against the Jets on Tuesday. Blues forward Dylan Holloway has already set career highs in goals, assists, and points this season with 8 goals, 7 assists, and 15 points through 26 games with the Blues. Since Jim Montgomery took over as head coach, Holloway has 7 points in 4 games. He told First Alert 4 after the Blues' last home game, Montgomery brings a great energy, and he's been liking him as a coach so far. The Blues will face the Flames this evening. The puck drops at 8 p.m. All right, Matt. It's cold in there, but it's colder outside.
You can play some hockey.
Oh, absolutely.
Downtown right now. Thankfully, we're dry, right?
Okay,
so we
that's
don't
good,
have
that's
icy
good.
streets. I don't think this is going to be a big challenge on the roads, other than making sure the car starts, making sure, because listen, I'm the worst at this. I think, well, I'm only going to dart in and out of the building, right?
Making more improvements to a St. Louis gym. Next, right here on First Alert 4, we're highlighting the latest project in Forest Park and how you can chip in to help. Stay with us. Gym of St. Louis, and it needs your help. We are just shy of a week away from our annual telethon, helping bring awareness and raise money for Forest Park. And with 1,300 acres, Forest Park is always improving. Our Leah Hill shows us a side of the park that is set to become the next big destination.
Live, First Alert 4 starts now.
All righty, it is almost 4:30. Take a live look right now. Look at this. You can't tell from this shot, but guess what? It is cold and it is windy. I think Matt said it earlier, kind of a 1-2 punch, if you will, if you're stepping outside. Good Thursday morning to you, and thanks for waking up with us. You're watching First Alert 4 this morning. I'm Justin Andrews, and for Maurice Drummond this morning, meteorologist Matt Chambers here. Matt.
Oh, this is getting serious. This just
I'll
got
just
serious.
say this. I'm glad that when I walked out of the house this morning, it wasn't too bad. When I walked out
Right.
at what, well, almost 2 o'clock?
Yeah, but we're freaks. Let's be honest,
exactly.
right?
We're freaks.
Most
But if I
people
go
don't-
out there after this show, ooh.
Yeah, wind chills in the single digits at the end of your shift today, my friends.
Goodness.
And that.
So we were advised not to confront the store's owners because of the issues there. We called the number listed for the business, but no one picked up the phone. Earl Cox, the man convicted of killing a 9-year-old this morning. Parents of kids who got sick from the E. coli outbreak are still upset over questions that have gone unanswered, especially around the source of the contamination. St. Louis County's health department says some of those cases are tied to Andres, a local catering company. Now, new fingers are being pointed at a farm 2,000 miles away from St. Louis. The FDA hasn't announced a source for the E. coli outbreak. St. Louis County's health department has linked Andres Banquets and Catering to the outbreak. A spokesperson released a statement yesterday saying in part, lettuce taken from our facility tested negative for E. coli on November 23rd. The bottom line is that we still don't know the source of the outbreak in our region. Andres goes on to say that it's unfair to name them as the source of the contamination. Well, we are watching new bills being filed in Jefferson City. The new session starts next month, and a proposed law aims to increase the fight on substance use and abuse. Senator Carla May, who represents parts of St. Louis City and County, has pre-filed a bill that would modify opioid prescriptions. If passed into law, it would require practitioners, before giving that initial prescription, to consult with the patient about the risks of taking opioids and the alternatives available. It would also require that practitioner to check in with the patient during the course of treatment. Local group Prevented says any conversation around education and prevention is a good thing, and hearing about the risks and dependence from a medical professional would be impactful. Attorneys for both sides expect a ruling later this afternoon. Well, making a barrel to help the environment. Coming up right here on First Alert 4, we're taking you on a special journey helping both the whiskey industry and our forest. Time now is 4:41 in the morning. Taking a live look in downtown St. Louis. I think this camera is actually in the Central West End. It is cold, it is windy. You might want to bundle up. Stay with us. Looking live at O'Fallon, Missouri from Progress West Hospital there. You can tell from the flags there, it is windy right now. That is whipping in the wind. And let's talk about the wind. Let's talk about the cold. Because, oh my goodness, it is cold out there, Matt. How cold are we talking? I know we've been talking about the 1-2 punch, but how low are we going to get?
So actual temperatures across the metro now, Justin, have slipped into the teens, number one. On top of that, you mentioned the winds flapping around out there in O'Fallon. That's a widespread issue. It feels like single digits out there across much of the area. Far and away, the coldest wind chills we've had so far this season. Here are the numbers. Is that a minus sign in front of the 3 in Litchfield?
That's what I'm seeing, Matt.
Yikes. Feels like 3